All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to our session, Beyond Funding, Strategies for Sustaining OER at a Community College. My name is Andrea Hartranft, and I'm from the Harrisburg Area Community College, where I'm a reference and instruction librarian and co-chair of the OER committee.
And I'm Tamara Girardi, also from Harrisburg Area Community College. I'm an associate professor of English, and along with Andrea, the co-chair of the college's OER initiative.
We have so much information to share with you, so with keeping the time in mind, we will mention the highlights of the OER initiative at HAC, so please know that you can contact us at any time for additional information. First of all, just to give you some background about our OER initiative. In spring 2019, we conducted a student survey with just over 1,600 responses from our students, which is about a 10% response rate. Just some highlights from this survey. It was just a 10-question survey for students, but we just wanted to point out some highlights. And one of those highlights would be this table. And this shows how much students were spending based on the number of classes they were taking. So if you look over at the column where students are spending more than $400 on textbooks, you can see that just about 20% of our students are spending over $400 on textbooks, and this is at a community college. We also learned from the survey that students prefer print unless a free e-copy is available. When factoring in cost, the students prefer the free digital downloads. And this was the last question that we asked on the survey. This is the one that I think got the most attention from faculty and administration, and it shows that 91.7% of students responded yes or maybe to enrolling in another course if they don't have to pay so much for textbooks. That could have a huge impact on our enrollment numbers at the college. The information from this survey supported our subsequent requests for administrative and financial support. With that support, in 2019 and 2020, we developed the HAC OER model, which clarified the process for planning and applying for an OER project. We worked with a committee of more than 20+ representatives throughout the college from various academic disciplines, like the library, access services, the bookstore, and the Center for Design and Instruction. We wanted to make sure that we weren't remaining in just a silo and reaching out across the college. Our focuses that year included training, support, assessment, and selection of a platform to publish the text, which is LibreText. Our initiative will save more than 3,800 of our students $323,000 per semester. Also, as a point of information, all OER funding at the college is filtered through our committee. That way we can ensure consistency and appropriate support for faculty developing OER. From last year's projects, 4 faculty members have published their OER to LibreText, and 3 of them have implemented their OER this fall semester. We have 28 additional faculty members currently developing their OER projects by adapting and creating their own resources that will be available to students either this spring or next fall semester. We've also been working closely with the bookstore. We do have a bookstore committee member, and he spent a huge amount of time working to figure out how many courses that we're using low or no cost textbooks. So based on the national average for low cost textbooks, when we say low cost, we mean $40 or less. For the fall 2019 semester, 1,074 or 38.25% of courses were using low or no cost textbooks. For the spring 2020 semester, 992 or 38.99% of courses were using low or no cost textbooks. This helps provide us with a baseline as we move forward with OER at the college and another way to measure the committee's impact. So this has been a great deal of work in 1 year. Our OER initiative is incredibly strong at the college, yet we are also still developing it. As we realized this, we turned our efforts in our second year to sustainability. We are glad to share any of the already mentioned resources with you, and you can access them through this Hack OER LibGuide, which is just easily searchable online with those key terms. Just type in Hack OER LibGuide. And with that, I'll be passing it over to Tamara.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. So that said, we're fortunate at the college to have multiple funding streams for our initiative. Our primary source of funding is the Hack Foundation. Other sources include strategic planning funds, which are available to us since OER is part of the college's strategic plan. And a third source of funding is the regular budget. In the first 2 years, we relied solely on grant funding from the foundation and strategic planning funds. But next year, part of the personnel funding will come from the general budget. That is a crucial element to sustainability, and we look to continue moving more of our initiative to be included in the budget. I also want to say that part of the reason we're able to do this is the data we've collected through the process, and we've shared a lot of that with you today. We all know from experience that data is something that speaks to the academic audience. So beyond funding, how can you sustain an OER initiative at your college? So our first piece of advice is to incorporate more experts. To sustain, we must have more and more experts on hand through the faculty ranks and the library. We are also considering how we can involve student experts as part of sustainability, but we haven't really gone there yet. In addition to the 20-person committee, this summer we hired OER mentors. To become OER mentors, 2 faculty members with background in OER participated in the Creative Commons licensing course online, which is an intensive training about the foundational aspects of OER, sharing, licensing, and copyright. As OER mentors and advocates, these faculty members work directly with the spring-summer 2020 cohort of OER faculty developers to support them in their work. The mentors will continue working with incoming faculty this academic year. We plan to bring 2 more mentors into the group in the spring, summer of 2021. Additionally, we are ensuring that librarians are better trained to support OER projects. In January, we are hosting a full-day training designed for librarians that covers Creative Commons licensing and other foundational elements of OER. That way, when faculty need support finding open resources, the librarians are skilled in where to find them and how to interpret the licensing, so that faculty can incorporate those resources appropriately. Finally, we are working with our Center for Design and Instruction, which is the unit responsible for supporting faculty with academic technologies at the college. Our goal with this approach is to ensure that all instructional designers at the institution are trained in using LibreText, which is the OER platform we use for publication. Incorporating more experts is crucial to sustainability. We as co-chairs will not stay in these positions forever. For the initiative to continue succeeding, the future co-chairs must be well-trained and able to advance the initiative from the beginning of their roles, rather than spending time in a steep learning curve. Additionally, as the group of faculty members developing OER expands, it's necessary to have mentors, librarians, and instructional designers available to assist them. So our second piece of advice is to recruit faculty developers. As we incorporate more experts at the college, we must also incorporate more faculty developers of OER. Without them, the initiative would not exist. Therefore, we spent significant time in September and October of this year presenting at every department meeting across the college. We presented to deans and administrators at our academic council as well. In the past, we've presented at curriculum programming at the beginning of the semester. Also, we present training and informational sessions through our college's faculty-led professional development center. Any opportunity we have, we get in front of faculty administrators and we talk about OER. Despite all of this, we still have faculty ask us, what is OER? The question further supports our need to regularly conduct outreach to sustain the initiative. So our third piece of advice is to build a strong community. We recently led a roundtable for faculty developing OER to share the best ways we can build an OER community. We want them to have a place to go to share ideas and experiences so that they feel better connected while developing their projects. The community will create opportunities for faculty to be successful, and it has the potential to inspire others developing OER to do so more effectively and creatively. We received several great ideas that we will implement this year. One that we already implemented was a series of workshops that were really just opportunities for faculty developers to get together and work on their OER projects. We were hearing from faculty that the one thing standing in their way was the time to complete the work. So the goal was for them to visit the Zoom session and just work on their projects. We had some success with this, and we will continue the approach. Another approach we plan to take is a show and tell session in which faculty who have already completed their OER projects will present through our faculty-led professional development unit at the college and show other faculty what they did and how they did it. If you have found any interesting or effective approaches at building an OER community at your institution, we'd love to hear about them in the chat. Please type them at any time. So finally, we recommend for sustainability that you refine your processes. This year, in our second year, so we didn't wait very long, we modified the OER model at our institution. The modification includes a new tier of funding in the model for maintenance. Essentially, every 3 years, faculty members will now be eligible to reapply for grant funding to update their OER text to a new edition. This tier ensures that the resources we are investing in right now will continue to be relevant for students in 5, 10, or even 15 years. Also, our original model included 3 tiers: adoption, adaption, and creation. Adaption and creation were separated in that faculty who were making changes to existing resources were considered adapting. Faculty creating their own resources from scratch without adapting any existing resources were considered creating. However, as we began our work, we realized that many faculty who applied to adapt were actually creating quite a bit of their content. Likewise, faculty who applied to create were using some resources available to them and actually adapting and creating. Since the lines were blurred and that created an equity issue for faculty developers, we created a proposal for our provost to alter the tiers to combine adaption and creation with a new tier called remix/create. From the beginning of the initiative, we said that we didn't know how everything will work and that we must be flexible if we want to be successful. This is one example of how we are being flexible and fair to our faculty. Sustainability of OER initiatives is not a highly discussed topic beyond funding, nationally or internationally. Many institutions are still working to develop their initiatives and are finding funding to support the projects. And that's fine, we're still doing that too. But as you develop initiatives, think about how you might sustain them and be open to opportunities to reconsider your initiative so that it may adapt and improve. To recap, other than funding, which is crucial, there are 4 key aspects to ensuring sustainability at our initiative at HAC, and hopefully for you too. And those are incorporating a network of experts, recruiting more faculty to participate, creating a strong OER community, and continuing to refine your processes. Thank you for the opportunity to share our experiences about OER. I know we covered quite a bit very, very quickly, so we're happy to answer any questions that you may have now in the chat. As you can see, our contact information is also there in case you would like to reach out to us personally. Yes, Amy, that's fine. The tiers of funding. Andrea, do you want to go back to the LibGuide and we can pull up the model so we can show them the tiers? And if you would prefer to unmute and ask your question, please feel free to do so.
Okay, so here we are in the OER LibGuide, and where you'll find the information that we're discussing is under the OER Committee tab. If you look over on the right-hand side under our quick links, we have any of the OER trainings that we've done. We're currently in our fall application process, as you can see. And then right below that, we have all of the documents here that you need. So we have our Hack OER model, and this outlines everything that faculty need to know about the OER initiative. Now, keep in mind that we still have not, even though we talked about refining our process for the tiers, we have not reflected that in this yet. We still need to talk to the provost about this to get to be granted that. So this is what we currently have in place, and we also don't yet have the maintenance model in here yet either. But we plan on updating that this semester.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. So we have many questions. I'm going to scroll back up. One question is whether we can share the slides. Amy, I don't know how that's done, but we're happy to share them. The list of questions included in your student survey. Andrea, is the student survey on the Hack OER LibGuide?
It is not.
Okay.
I'd be happy to share that, Lo. It went through, just to let you know, I worked with another librarian on that who had some background in it. And then we worked with institutional research. And so institutional research was the one who sent out the questions, but I'd be more than happy if you send me an email to share that information with you.
Okay, so what was the reaction of faculty to the drop-in OER workshops? What type of support staff were there for them? So for each of the workshops, we made sure that there was a OER co-chair. So Andrea or I, one of us was in all of the workshops. And then we had a mentor with us for each of the workshops. And then we also had a librarian with us. So at the beginning, we did this once a week in October. At the beginning, we had several faculty participate. I think we had about 9. And then towards the end of the month, the participation had dwindled a little bit. What we found to be really effective was we have some faculty that are working in teams. So let's say that you have 3 faculty members. I'm working with 2 other faculty, for instance, on an English project, and then there's another English faculty group. So there's 6 of us. So we kind of emailed each other and said, hey, can we get together on this time and try to encourage other people from the team to be in the same place at the same time working? That seemed to increase participation. We're also considering kind of a boot camp approach, either through winter break or in January. It's really difficult because faculty there's so much pressure on faculty time right now. Especially at our institution, we're 100% remote or online. So many of our face-to-face faculty have been, teaching remotely and transitioning to that because of the pandemic, which has been a real challenge for them. I shouldn't say 100% because there are still some labs and sciences meeting on campus. Let's see. Yeah, the link to the LibGuide is in there, Jessica, a couple of times if you could see it. And you can also, if you lose the link, if you just search Hack OER LibGuide on any search engine, it should come up. So the makeup of the committee, we have more than 20 members of our committee. And we had mentioned before, we have someone from Access Services, the bookstore, the Center for Design and Instruction. We tried to have faculty from different disciplines on the committee. Different roles. So we have librarians, we have faculty that are skilled with OER, that they've completed OER projects before this initiative even existed. We have faculty that are skilled in assessment, in training. So we really just tried to diversify as much as possible. Okay. Is this another question about the survey? If you are interested in seeing the student survey, please email Andrea. And I think that is a really good starting point. If you don't have a lot of institutional support, I have to say, whenever we went into the foundation meetings and strategic planning, and we presented and we said, please give us, tens of thousands of dollars for this initiative. When we were able to say that students, what was the number, Andrea? Like 97% of students said yes or maybe that they would enroll in more courses if their textbooks. 91, thank you. If their courses weren't so expensive, if their books weren't so expensive, that was a data point that was really persuasive to those audiences. So I definitely recommend that.
And I think that goes then into Richard's question. There was a little resistance, I would say, to faculty wanting to kind of think about OER in the beginning. So in the beginning, I talked to anybody who would listen to me about OER, and there was pushback. But actually, when it came to sending out interest to see who would want to be a part of the committee, we had to actually turn some people down. There was definitely a lot of interest at the college about OER. And what I found, especially going to the departments, was kind of having that OER champion within the department who could then, like for example, when I went to talk to the science department, change can sometimes be a little scary, or not understanding something can be a little scary. But then I had other faculty members in the science department speak up and talk about their experiences with using OER. And that was a great help in getting faculty to view it a little bit differently and not be afraid of it. Was there anything you wanted
Great.
to
So
add,
we
Tamara?
were really impressed with our faculty participation. Our very first application cycle was in the fall of last year, and we had 13 faculty apply with 13 teams, right, Andrea? So it turned out to be 21 faculty members. And it was really impressive. We didn't expect that kind of turnout. Then in the spring, we had not planned to open another application cycle, but then faculty started reaching out to other funding streams at the institution because they were eager to get involved. And we realized, okay, in order to make sure that this is all consistent and cohesive, we need to open another application cycle. So we did again in the spring. And that's where we got the impact of, basically $323,000 of savings for textbook costs for students from last year's faculty developers. And then this year, it's a little bit slower. We've had 3 applications this fall, which is our lowest number yet. But I think when we first opened, that really excited group of faculty that were just ready to go for it. And now it's a matter of having those projects come to fruition and start those kind of show and tell sessions that we talked about, so that other faculty see what is being done. There has been some pushback about how are these documents going to be assessed? How do we know if they're effective? And that's part of the process that occurs within each department in terms of assessing their textbooks, just in the way they would adopt any textbook from a different publisher. But additionally, that maintenance level of the tier that we're putting forward will allow us to say, if your department finds after using this textbook for a year or so that it's that you want to make some changes to it, you can do that. Another faculty member can apply, like let's say faculty member A writes the textbook. Faculty member B says, I really like this, but I want to make some changes. Faculty member B can make an application to adapt faculty member A's textbook, or 3 years later, faculty member A could make an application to maintain a new edition of that textbook. So there's opportunities to continue refining. Let's see.
Was the OER committee overseen by your academic faculty senate-like curriculum? No, it wasn't. We worked really closely, and we continue to work closely with the provost of the college. And we do the academic faculty senate. They know what's going on because we do give updates at academic council.
The next question, were the faculty who joined the drop-in workshops creating textbooks on LibreText or courses, or both? Many of our faculty are creating textbooks. There are some other resources that they're creating, and they don't necessarily have to create them on LibreText. It's just that at the end of their process, they have to be published on LibreText, so other faculty at colleges and universities across the world can use them. So that's just our way of making sure that the resources are searchable and accessible to others outside of our immediate community.
At this time, we've reached the end of our formal session. I'm going to shut off the recording. You are free to use the room for 15 more minutes.
Thank you, Amy. We'll try to get through these other questions if we can.